On this episode, we review Disney's 50th anniversary celebration in part 2 of this two-part series. Today is October 8th, 2021, and this is episode 398 of the Main Street Magic Podcast.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Main Street Magic. I am your host, Jeremy Stein, and I am joined by my lovely wife, Rhonda.
Hey, guys.
Make sure you check us out on the web at mainstmagic.com, as well as follow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at mainstmagic. And if you have not done so already, head out to Facebook and search for the Main Street Magic community and ask to join. And if you hit that subscribe button, you're going to get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. But then if you want even more content, like the 23 live streams we did last weekend during the 50th celebration, including other park, resort, at-home live streams, we got bonus episodes coming, discounts on Main Street Magic merchandise, and a whole lot more. Visit wonderlandcrew.com to check out our Patreon group. And speaking of Main Street Magic merchandise, we do have some new items in the shop, including a Happiest 50 Years on Earth celebration design. We have some Pura Vida Main Street Magic colored bracelets, and we have some long sleeve Main Street Magic flannel shirts hitting the shop here this weekend. So you can go to mainstreetshirts.com. Not only is there Main Street Magic gear, but there's all kinds of Disney and Universal designs as well. And then finally, if you're getting ready to plan your next Disney, maybe Universal vacation, looking to go on a cruise, or pretty much travel anywhere else in the world, check out our incredible travel partner, Melissa Pilgrim, with Ears of Experience at msmears.com, and you can go ahead and fill out a form for a free quote. So this is part 2 of our 50th anniversary, 50th celebration anniversary series from last weekend. Mm-hmm. So if you have not listened to Tuesday's episode, part 1, I'd go back and start there before you get to this one. And we kind of are just walking through our entire weekend. We left off last. And Kate, what is it they do? In case you missed last week's episode,
I was just trying to say, where did we leave off?
We left off. We were taking a break from Magic Kingdom to go back to the room. But before we get into talking about the 50th, today is a very special date or day in history. I think for not only us as Walt Disney World fans, but for the podcast, it was October 8th, 2015, that I kind of feel like this show started. Even though our first episode was in August of 2017, October 8th, 2015. What did we do, Rhonda? What was our little date night that we headed down to Disney for?
Well, we went to see 21 Pilots, play at House of Blues.
Yeah.
And we went ahead and stayed in a moderate, which was Port Orleans.
Yeah, French Quarter. It was our first time ever staying in a moderate.
Yep. And we decided to become pass holders.
Yeah, I remember we got to that resort, and we had never visited a moderate or deluxe. You know,
Correct.
We had always done a lot of trips to Fort Wilderness, and we had done, some all-star stays and things like that. And we were doing the, Florida, you could usually buy 2 days and you got a day free in the parks, and you could use it over a 6-month period. So we'd go about twice a year. We'd use 2 days, one trip, and then we'd go down for a weekend and use another day. And, we had been doing that since Kaylin was born pretty much. Mm-hmm. Year and a half old, I guess. And I remember walking around Port Orleans, and we sat at the pool bar prior to have a drink, and then we took the boat over to Disney Springs, and we hung outside of House of Blues waiting for the concert to start. But we were at French Quarter, and we were like, I wonder, we had some friends that were pass holders, and I was like, I wonder, what it really costs. Like, let's go get some info. Mm-hmm. And we did. And we went down and talked to guest services, and we got the information on it. And the next morning we had drove separate because I had to go to like Bradenton or something for a work thing. And so I left the next morning. You drove home, but I remember us going, all right, we're going to be pass holders. This is going to be this year's big Christmas gift.
Yep.
And then we went back in December 4th of 2015. We bought our annual passes, and that started the journey of visiting Disney every single month since. including when they were shut down and we drove down for a day and drove through property, so it counts. But that popped up on my memories this morning, and I remember the date like in my head. I just it popped up, and I was like, this is it. This is truly like the beginning of this crazy journey we've been on for 6 years now. So, all right. So we last left you off. We were taking a break, and went back to Coronado for a little bit to hang out, kind of just unpack the morning in our brains, as well as unpack some merchandise and eat a couple treats we got from the Main Street Confectionery.
Yes.
What were those? Because one of them we thought was going to be an absolute monstrosity and turned out to be pretty good.
Yeah. So it was funny. In our group chat that Jossie and I and Kat and Michael are all a part of, she puts this dessert in it and was like, what is this? And so it is a actual Skittles fudge.
Yeah.
So it's fudge of Skittles, like it's so, and then there's Skittles on top.
Yeah. A fruit fudge, if you will.
Yeah,
which I didn't know was a
the way
thing.
to explain it.
Yeah.
So it was hysterical because we live streamed this and we tasted it. And Kaylin said it best when she said, it tastes like the rainbow.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, it was just and it was weird because it was totally the texture and the density of fudge. Yeah. The bottom, actually, Jossie asked, is it chocolate? But it was grape. So it did look like chocolate, but it wasn't. And it's one of those things where you take a bite and you're like, I'm not sure about this. But then, like, once you eat it and then once, like, that aftertaste, you're like, I want another bite.
It's really good.
I want another bite.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we mobile ordered that, which was fantastic to do. And then there was another little 50th thing, which was just a Rice Krispie treat with, I think, M&Ms.
Yeah, it was covered
on top.
covered in like white chocolate and then had M&Ms on it.
The girls always love that, so it's one of those things where
you can't go wrong.
Yeah, there. Just those were the things that we wanted, so we got those. Of course, the Rice Krispie treat was good, but it's so funny because I would totally get this again.
The Skittles fudge?
Yes.
I would too. The fudge portion, and I'm using like my air quotes here because again, I don't know what it really was. Like I don't know how they made this, but it was good. Yeah. It was beautiful. It was layered it was literally layered like the rainbow. But then the top of it looked like they like salt bayed the Skittles, like they just like somebody stood 4 feet away and just threw Skittles at this fudge because they were so randomly like placed. Like it would have been neat almost if they were in nice, neat rows,
or maybe a Mickey.
Yeah, or done a Mickey head on each individual one. But I will say, mobile order, as Rhonda said, is the way to go. Now, the confectionery at this point was not nuts because everybody was still in line for merchandise and popcorn. But the mobile order was just so easy to walk in. They had a bag ready. I will say this. As soon as you get your bag, either eat while these days are still extremely hot. This has been dumb the past week. Okay. I'm over this. Okay. I know we live in Florida. I signed up for this, but I'm done. Okay. Come on. We took it all the way back to the room. We rode the bus, everything. By the time we went to eat it, the fudge was very soft.
Yes.
So I would say either eat it immediately, or if you are going to carry it around and take it back to your room, leave it in your room a little bit to come up to kind of a room temp and harden or put it in the fridge is what we did. Because
when we put it in the fridge and after, I remember taking another bite and it was really good.
Yeah, it almost made it better because then it really had that density of an actual fudge. But very, very surprising, very delicious. I agree. I would totally get it again.
Yeah.
So we hung out in the room for a little bit, and then we another note I kind of made in here that before we get back into our trip to Magic Kingdom and finish off everything is we were able to get back and finally watch, which had aired Friday night on ABC, the Celebration episode, right? The Celebration special.
Yeah.
For Disney, the 50th Celebration special. And I just want to chat about it real quick. It's on Hulu. If you have not seen it, it is wonderful.
Yes.
It is so good. It's so well done. As somebody who considers myself very knowledgeable about, Walt Disney World and Disney and stuff, I learned a lot from it. Like it has a lot of great old footage. It's got new footage. It's got everyone you'd expect, including a good friend of ours. If you didn't pick up on it, Mr. Aaron Creecraft from Coronado Springs is one of the featured cast members in that little cast member section. That section, the Gary Sinise section, in the Give Kids the World section, have tissues ready. I will say.
Yeah.
They are amazing. But did you
Mhm.
love the special?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like I'd watch it again.
Yeah.
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 All right. I just wanted to talk about that real quick. All right. So we headed back to Magic Kingdom, and this was what at this point probably 4-ish or so.
I think so.
So we wanted to still get in some additional rides. We were going to go ahead and do Haunted Mansion. We knew we were going to have to line up extremely early for the 9 p.m. fireworks. While there, I had actually been going back and forth through DM on Instagram with a listener of ours, Zach. And we're coming around the hub. And of course, I saw his photo, in his Instagram while we're messaging back and forth. And I look up and I'm like, Zach? And so we sat and chatted with him for a while.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Turns out he lives in Maryland, actually not far from where I grew up, not far from where my brother lives, and is actually a teacher there.
Yes.
Which thank you
God
very
bless
much,
his
Zach.
soul.
Yes. Again, one of those kind of unsung heroes, I feel like.
Yes.
And yeah, in the school system that I grew up in and my parents taught in. So it's really cool to stop and chat with him.
It's a small world after all.
It is. Way to pull that around, sweetie. Rode Haunted Mansion, which I think for both of us was our number one ride that day, is like an opening day attraction.
Yeah, and
ride,
it was funny.
right?
I was just telling my brother last night about it, the opening attraction, and it was there, and he's like, it was there 50 years ago, and I was like, yeah. And I told a couple of clients, because a lot of people were asking me how the 50th was, and it was neat to see how many people were like, Haunted Mansion wow, that was ahead of its time.
Yeah.
And it was just neat.
Well, and what's so cool about a lot of these opening day attractions, except for Tomorrowland Speedway, is so many of them haven't changed a lot.
Right.
I mean, Jungle Cruise has gone through some obvious, recent refurbs, but that was only very recent. But things like Country Bear really hasn't changed much.
Right.
Haunted Mansion has gotten, some little things, mostly like queue related and all, but a lot of it hasn't changed a ton. You got the hitchhiking ghost upgrades and things like that, but I think it's so cool. It's a small world, and they still really do hold up, which
Absolutely.
I love. And that's why I think it was important to almost be like, let's ride some of these that we can, from that opening day. So after this, I mean, we kind of, hung around a little bit. We did some things here and there, but we knew we had to get a good spot. We met back up with our good friend, Rachel. And where does everyone listening think Rhonda wanted to find a spot for the fireworks?
Trash can.
Yep. I probably said it along with you.
Yes. It was funny though, because I'd like to talk real quick before we get into that part, where, excuse me, there was these walkways and cast members, motioning where we have to go. And so Rachel and I ended up, Jeremy had to go to the bathroom, and we were near where Jeremy had to go to the bathroom.
Business, Rhonda.
What?
Nothing. I don't know.
Okay. So, we start talking with some cast members, like, are we allowed to post up here? And it looked like an obvious no, but they said no. And so then they said, this is a walkway. And I was like, well, when they start, are we? And she was like, no, because of emergency, or, you had to get through this way. And we actually were talking to a Rachel.
Yes.
And she was so sweet. And we sat and stood and talked to her for a little while and was like, all right. Because at this point, Rachel and I already kind of looked for.
We saw people getting spots
trash
at
cans.
noon,
Earlier,
if not earlier.
I feel like earlier.
I mean,
that.
I'm not kidding.
Yes.
People parked their butts all day long.
Yes. Which I was like, oh, okay.
We're some dedicated Disney fans, but I don't think I'm sitting in one place for 10 hours like that.
No.
Especially considering the spot we ended up with.
Right. So, Rachel Williams and I started looking for a spot, and there were a lot of trash cans were already taken.
Mm-hmm.
And then
the word's gotten out. Right?
I know. I guess
every single one of those people at a trash can probably listens.
Yeah, probably. So it was funny because we were talking to the cast member, Rachel, and we were like, where should, we go? And she just was amazing. And we thanked her for everything she does because, that day was a little rough on cast members.
I came up at the last minute, but I could almost notice in her face, I think she really appreciated you two stopping and chatting with her, and like I bet her face went from like kind of a frazzled like, wow, this has been a day, to, well, this is nice.
Yeah.
I hope.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
So, and if she is listening, Rachel, I do appreciate everything you do. So
Yes.
thank you.
So yeah, so we made our way around the hub and we found a decent trash can spot, and there was another couple there, and they were already posted up, and I even joked to the guy because we were kind of looking around and I was standing in front of him, and I just turned around and was like, I promise I'm not going to stand right here for this fireworks, because I was about a head taller than him.
Yeah.
And that's, certainly happens often enough. I feel like you've been there a while and someone gets in front of you. So he's like, oh, that's good. And we kind of just chatted with them a little. And then we're like, well, there's going to be the Main Street projections. Let's just see what it might be like on Main Street if there's a spot. And we walked over through Main Street, and within 5 seconds, we're like, big nope here. We're not, not staying here. Let's maybe go back to our trash can and see what's up. So we went back to that same trash can. There's right around the circle of the hub, more over towards the Plaza Ice Cream Parlor and all. And a couple people collected around there. It's right where the curb goes down into that hub street. And we're all standing down.
And while we were standing, I'm going to go ahead and say, like, people were walking, but all of a sudden, like, it just, like, congested and just filled in. Yeah. And we were like, oh. And we were just kind of standing there talking. We didn't know where we were going to go.
And we got that spot probably a good hour and a half prior. So this is probably about somewhere between 7 and 7:30.
Yep.
Yeah.
And because I didn't want to, like, take a play, and I almost felt bad because the way it was getting congested, and I don't want to ever come up and be that person.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And
it's another reason a lot of times we try and get around trash cans, because it creates some space where you don't have to be in front of someone, because there's open spaces that Disney wants you to fill in, and they want you to have a good spot. But yes, if the person who all of a sudden is standing behind me, a big 6'3" dude, has been there an hour longer, that's not right. And so we always try to make ourselves aware of that. I mean, there's even been times, a lot of times what I'll do is if I am, even if I've been there longer and someone gets behind me, I'll often look back, I'll kind of register their heights and their view, and then I'll either try and stand in between their heads in a sense.
Right.
Like I'm not going to stand right in front of them, or there's even been times I've kind of ducked down or hunched a little bit, just hoping that they can see. We've always said, and it's almost become a joke, I wish everybody would sit down for fireworks, but
100%.
But Disney doesn't want them to, because it creates a fire hazard if there's an emergency, because all of a sudden if people need to exit, they're probably not already going to do it in a
orderly
well-behaved manner. Yeah.
Right.
So, but if everybody's sitting down, and if there's some sort of emergency, you now have even more chaos as everybody tries to get up. And so, I don't think we're ever getting a sit down fireworks, but
unless you go to a party.
Yes, then you can. I will say the next hour and a half waiting for the fireworks might be some of my, like, one of my favorite time blocks that entire weekend. And
yeah, it was really neat. So we were standing there, and I noticed this woman standing next to the trash can, and she was a very beautiful woman, and we weren't engaging yet, and I can't remember what was said about me being short, and we were just all conversating, and she looked at me and she was like, well, you can stand here on the because it was
up on the curb.
Up on the curb, and she said, then you can see. So I stepped up next to her. I at this point really thought she was by herself, and I stepped up next to her, and she did mention something about somebody not coming or until he gets there, and I was like, oh my gosh, and so then we started talking, and I introduced myself, and she introduced herself as Miriam. And then it was funny because I felt bad because my back was turned to Jamie, and her and Jamie were together.
They were there waiting on their other,
and then
their
they
third
were waiting
friend.
for Peter.
Yep.
So it was hysterical because I apologized and then introduced myself to Jamie, and then we all introduced ourselves, and we just start talking, and we start asking what they do, and it's so neat because they were cast members.
Yeah.
And
had the night off.
Yep.
And came to see the opening of Enchantment.
Yep. And then, because we do know so many cast members, we like to then say, hey, wait, do you know? And it was so neat because we did. And Miriam's like, wait a minute. I'm having lunch with Nathan next week.
Yeah, next week. We're like, do
I
you know
know.
this person?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. This
Yep.
person. Yes, this person.
So cool.
It was awesome. And then so then they're texting with their friend Peter who's coming, and he's making his way down Main Street through now very much crowds. It's starting to get dark. And yeah, Jamie's like texting or calling him, and then she starts waving her hand in the air. And of course, in true Rhonda fashion, Rhonda turns her flashlight on and puts it in the air and starts yelling Peter. And then we all start yelling it. And then people around us just start yelling Peter at the top of their lungs.
Yep.
While we're all holding like our phones in the air waving, and he comes up. He's a former cast member and performer.
Yep.
Which was so cool. But yeah, we just sat and we were just chatting with him, and like Rachel, who's a big foodie like me and loves to, eat her way around Disney World and try different things. Miriam also loves food, and we're just sitting there just talking with her about, all right, what's your favorite table service? What's the best place to get a steak? And we're just going back and forth, and it made the hour and a half just blow by.
It was really fun.
And then we got to stand there with them, our new friends, and enjoy Enchantment for the first time.
Yep.
Which was so cool. Enchantment, Rhonda. Let's chat about Enchantment. We covered Harmonious and our thoughts on that in the previous episode. We had a very, very good spot for Enchantment, right?
We did, but we weren't down Main Street, so you couldn't see the projections down Main Street. But yes, we did have a very good spot, I thought.
And much like we did for Harmonious, though, before doing this episode, we went and watched the Disney Parks live stream.
Yeah.
So, which we could gauge. This is what Main Street looks like. This is a dead-on shot of the show. We just wanted to refresh our memory. What do you think of the show? I mean, we don't have to break it down from beginning to end, but let's talk about the project. First of all, let's do everything we can to not compare it to Happily Ever After, because I'm just everybody so far, and I'm not disagreeing. I said the same thing. It seems like you ask someone, how's Enchantment? And the first thing out of their mouth is, it's not Happily Ever After. And I want to try and get away from that.
Yeah, because that's what everybody said when everybody was like, well, how's that for Happily Ever After? Yeah. Well, it's not Wishes.
Yeah.
So,
let's just say that Happily Ever After, we all know, absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
One of the most catchiest tunes ever. We all miss it. Everybody misses it. Guys, it's gone. Enchantment is here. Let's embrace it. What do you think?
It's gonna have to grow on me. It was really good, and there's just more instrumental than to want to sing along like we did with Happily Ever After. So that is the one thing I am going to miss, that soundtrack to sing along. I will probably listen to it again just because it is amazing. So with that knocked out of the way, said, Enchantment was great. I loved Tinkerbell Flies again.
Yes.
So exciting. And it was really cool because, I love something new like this when the crowd loves something and then they cheer. I did. I really, really liked it. Like I said, it was a little more instrumental. But the projections were amazing. The fireworks were fantastic as always.
Yeah.
It's great. What do you think?
I agree completely. And I think, we're in this Disney bubble, and a lot of the people listening are too. A lot of the people usually that listen are like us. They've been many times. They've seen Happily Ever After many times. They now have this new show. It's hard for us to put ourselves in the place of who goes and sees Enchantment as their first Disney fireworks ever. I don't think they're going to watch it and be like, well, this isn't that great. Because, you know what I mean? Because they're not comparing it to anything.
Correct.
Or somebody who saw Happily Ever After a couple years ago. And that's the only time. And now they're seeing this. So I really don't think it's fair to compare in that sense. But I agree. I don't think the soundtrack is as catchy, and there is a lot more instrumental. I think the projections are beautiful. I think the fireworks are really, really well done. There is, of course, a Frozen section, and Elsa
so
projected
cool.
on the castle, shoots her hands out, and the fireworks are so perfectly timed as though it's ice coming out of her hands and shooting off of the castle.
So cool.
I really do like the addition of the projections down Main Street. I think they're well done where they're not going to take your eyes off the focus of the castle, but it gives you kind of a 180 view of what's going on.
Yeah, I agree.
I think there's some parts that are disjointed. I understand they tried to group, like just say, the Disney princesses that you consider more of the heroes, like, I don't know, like Mulan and Moana, and like those are grouped together. Raya, they're grouped together. But some of them just seem like all of a sudden you'd have, I don't know. There were a couple groupings that were odd to me.
Okay.
And there's a Disney song playing or an instrumental, and then you have these other films that just didn't seem to match in the projection.
Okay.
But that was about it. I like it. I can't wait to see it again.
Mm-hmm.
The ending in the beacons of light as they light up the castle. These beacons of light, I'm telling you, I can't wait to see in person. Tree of Life and Tower of Terror.
Yeah.
The Tower of Terror one on the very top has the nightclub, and you can see people moving around on that side, and it looks incredible. I can't wait to see it in person.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I really enjoy Enchantment, and I think people need to give it a fair chance, and let's not play the comparison game, because you're right, it's not Happily Ever After, but that's okay.
Right.
It's our new fireworks show, so let's love it. Will it be around longer than 18 months? We don't know. Might be something brand new, and then we're gonna, at that point, people might go, well, it's not Enchantment, which
right.
I don't know. But all right, so we were heading back, and again, I was so super impressed with the buses. Within 15 minutes, we had 3 buses headed to Coronado Springs.
Yes, thank God.
And a lot of people, again, a lot of people are exiting. A lot of people are heading out after the fireworks.
Staying open till 11.
Correct.
So, I mean, there were so many people leaving. I was like, why y'all leaving? It stays open till 11.
Yeah.
Because
While we're leaving.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't want to.
You guys go back inside. We're going to get a bus. But it was no issue.
Yep.
3 buses easy. Spoke with Teresa in line while we were getting ready to head home. And so it's always, I love being back to just meeting people and chatting with people.
I agree.
It's so cool.
Yep.
So we're getting back and we're walking through Grand Destino, and for some reason I was like, you know what? I'm going to go down to 3 Bridges. And Rhonda was the smart one, and she went to bed.
Yes.
So I did go down to 3 Bridges and hung out pretty much until it closed at midnight, and they had to say, Jeremy, we're going to need you to leave.
Oh my goodness.
Not really that way, but yeah, so we did that. So got our night's sleep. We were able to sleep in the next morning.
Yes.
We knew that we could kind of mosey into Epcot a little bit. Pressure was taken off by having been at Epcot on Wednesday.
Right.
I did roll over at 6:55. Did all my normal stuff to get back in the day, a Rise boarding group. Tried to get Remy, and it said no. You're not riding Remy today. You're not even close somehow, which was crazy because the day before on opening day, there were still boarding groups available at like 2:30 after that 1 p.m. drop.
Kingdom.
I know. So everybody's going to Epcot Saturday.
Yep.
But went down to catch the bus. Marcus was the cast member there who was kind of, I haven't seen this in a while where you have a cast member there kind of corralling the buses, answering questions for people. So that's what he was doing. But we started chatting with him about the day before in Magic Kingdom, and some other guests were sitting there that were there, and we're, talking about the madness in the morning. But it was great just chatting with him.
Yeah.
And he was really good. Like as the buses would come up and he'd kind of say, here's the bus, who's going to Epcot, who's going to this place. We were about to even pull out, and the bus was so close in front of us, our driver had to stop for a second. And Marcus even came up because some other guests were coming down and was like, can you still take these couple guests? And they opened it. He was a wonderful, wonderful
yes, he was.
cast member.
Yep.
So headed on over to Epcot. And we were very, very excited to get to Epcot because Kat had flown in late the night before.
Yes.
We were going to get to meet and hang out with her all day, which we were super excited about.
Yep.
Unfortunately, Michael had to stay home and work.
I feel you, Michael.
Yeah, but yeah. So as soon as we got there, we went back into Creation Shop, looked around, and then Rhonda was stalking Kat on the Find My iPhone or Find My Friend thing. Like, where is she? Where is she? Let's find her. So yeah, but met up with her. Went back through Creations to check some stuff out. They had all the day of merchandise in there from the day before that was in the virtual queue, and
they did not have. I did not see though our Spirit jersey that was 1971.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was not there.
2000.
Yeah, so that must have sold out. But most of the other stuff they had.
They did.
Which was
even the pass
interesting.
holder shirts.
Yeah, even the pass, which was interesting. But hey, Disney's got to sell this merch, so I get it, man. So yeah, met up with Kat, and we were going to kind of just make our way around. We had a 1 p.m. reservation for Space 220 that day. We're going to do a whole separate episode on Tuesday on Space 220. We'll give you maybe a little tease here, but there's some great photo pass options. We got a photo pass entering France.
Yeah, that was
the
fun.
3 of us.
Yeah.
And one of them, Kat, they do the hold your hand out, and we get our magic shot later, and little Remy is standing in her hand.
Yeah, it's so cute.
So there are a lot of really, really good photo passes happening right now.
Yeah,
and magic shots that I recommend.
Need to get more of.
We do. We did a bad job of.
Yes.
I'll say I did a bad job.
Yeah,
because you mentioned many times.
Yeah, I did.
Hey, that line's short.
Yep.
And I'm like, well, we're just gonna go here real quick. We'll come back. We come back. There's 8,000 people in it.
Yep.
So, all right. So, Space 220. We met up with Rachel.
Yes.
We had a lunch for 4 at Space 220 at 1 p.m. I will just say I can't wait for Tuesday's episode to tell y'all about this.
Yeah.
It is pun out of this world. It really, really is. It was great because we're doing the prefix lunch, and there's 4 of us. So when we review this, we have the opportunity to review basically 4 or 5 different drinks, 4 different appetizers because we all got something different, 4 different entrees because we all got something different. So we have a lot coming at you on Tuesday. I seriously can't wait to talk all about it. So after Space 220, because we spent a good hour and a half or so at lunch. So, at this point it's getting close to 3.
Space. I didn't keep track of time.
Would the time be the same? Like, is it the same time zone?
I have no idea.
I don't know how that works. Space time zones. And you're constantly, I would think, moving. Are you moving with the rotation of the Earth? We were, because we were attached to Florida by the elevator.
Yeah.
So we would have been moving with the rotation of Earth. So it should have been the same time. Yeah. So I do believe it was around 3 o'clock. We were doing a meetup with some folks at 6 p.m. at Bar Riva. So we're like, all right, let's relax. Kat and Rhonda and I decided to head back. She was staying at Boardwalk, believe it or not, if you know her. So we went back to hang at her room. On the way, we did grab from the Boardwalk Bakery a 50th anniversary cupcake.
Yes.
What did that look like? I don't know exactly which one this was. I think it might be called like the most magical cupcake or something.
I don't know.
It's those colors.
Blue.
Yeah.
And then had some, I guess, what do you call them? Rice Krispie pearls.
Yeah. And gold.
And gold.
Yep.
Yeah, they were gold. And then I think
and it was a chocolate 50th emblem on top. This was really, really delicious.
Oh, it was.
It had like a cream cheese style filling or something. I'm real hit or miss on Disney's cupcakes. I think a lot of them end up being too dense, or they've got way too much icing, or just this one was perfect. We all absolutely loved it.
Yes, we did.
So it was another thing to knock off our 150 treats to try over the course of the 18 months. I'm going to say this, and I did admit this when we were sitting there. I admitted it to the cat. I'm going to admit it to the world, everyone listening. Boardwalk is really growing on me. Like my whole thing with Boardwalk was always, I don't get it. And I do now. I get it. It is quaint. It is charming. I think I was always so used to walking into a Wilderness Lodge, an Animal Kingdom Lodge, a Poly Grand Flow, massive, over the top, several story lobbies, and Boardwalk is, I get that homey feeling of it. Down to the rooms, down to the hallways, to the quaint little lobby as you walk up across that like quad, the field that's right on the boardwalk. So I'm admitting it.
Wow.
I get Boardwalk now. There, I said it. All right. So we're going over to Bar Riva, 6 p.m. We're going to meet up with some wonderful, wonderful folks over there. Of course, Kat, Beckers came by, April and her wonderful family. It was so great to meet them.
Yes.
Our friends Marcy and Ken were working.
Yep.
And we were going to hang out there for a while. And I got to say, we had more fun than should be allowed because of, going back, World Showplace Pavilion at Epcot earlier, before we did Space 220 is where they had set up all the Remy opening day stuff.
Yeah.
So they had pass holder shirts. They had all kinds of new
Magic
merchandise.
band.
They had Magic Band that I got, a pass holder Magic Band. Rhonda says, you know what, I'm going to get this little remote controlled Remy that you can, drive around the floor, or you can put it on your shirt. I'm sure people have seen it, and it'll run around your shirt. And I'm like, Rhonda, that's a ridiculous idea.
I was getting it for Lacey.
I think you were getting it for Bucky, if we're being honest.
Okay.
But
well,
still,
I said
I'm like,
Lacey or Bucky.
yeah, I'm like, do we need this? And you're like, I'm getting it. And it's whatever. Okay.
I think it was like $30 maybe.
Yeah.
And I'm like 20% off. I'm like, it's not that much. I'm
Yep.
gonna get it. I got one.
If literally at the end of that night you had thrown it in the trash can, it would have been worth the money you spent on it, because we had so much fun with it sitting at Bar Riva.
Yep.
Everybody wanted to put it on their shirt, including Ken, the bartender. We have video of him with it on his shirt running around.
It was really cool.
And we're all just dying laughing. Who was controlling it at the one point where there was another on the other side of the walk-up window. Yeah, there's a guy sitting there at the bar, and it just starts to slowly drive up to him. And I'm almost waiting for him to turn him and like maybe freak out a little. Just all of a sudden, it looks like there's a rat on the counter, and he just glances over and just smiles like so big.
Yeah, it was
and
cool.
And then Remy turned around and came back. We seriously for
April's
like 30
daughter
minutes,
was
for like 30 minutes
doing
straight.
It too. It was fun.
We were just dying laughing. It was a blast.
Yeah.
Then somehow, I mean, because of you and Kat, we went to Disney Springs. We thought, let's go shop late night at Disney Springs.
Well, yeah, because we thought maybe they would have the pajamas,
Yeah.
and we thought they might have some stuff because we did hear that they were restocking stuff and
stuff like the tumblers, the Starbucks tumblers, the fist fight tumblers, we'll call them.
Oh my goodness! And yeah, it is supposed to be,
which are now on Shop Disney.
Yep.
So
for the 18 months.
Yeah, for a lot cheaper than they are on eBay for anyone looking for one still.
Yeah.
Disney Springs was a madhouse. It was. I mean, I shouldn't say madhouse because that sounds bad. It was busy.
Yeah.
Crazy,
it wasn't
crazy
bad
busy, right?
or
No,
anything.
everything was well done.
It was just very busy.
So we went to World of Disney, doing some shopping. I got my tracksuit jacket.
Oh yeah,
but they didn't have my pants in my size.
Yeah, we were looking for you, Michael, and Nick.
So we all have matching jackets now.
Yeah.
So I do think that we have formed some sort of cool guys club.
You want to be in it? Get it.
Yeah, if you want to get a jacket, we'll let you know when our official first meetup is. We will need to elect some officials. I feel like Michael should be president. Nick can run security. And then I don't know. I really don't have a place, but I'm very excited for the one day that I'll probably be able to wear it when it's cool enough. I'm about to turn our AC down to like 60 or up or whatever you call it. I want our AC at about 60 degrees so I can wear the jacket in the house because I can't wear it outside. It's still 97% humidity and it is 84 degrees out.
It's supposed to start getting a little bit
I hope
cooler,
so.
I saw.
But but got our merchandise and then went back to hang out at Boardwalk. And we had not eaten since Space 220, which was a very filling meal. But we did get some Boardwalk pizza, which at, around 11-ish or so at night, it's the best pizza on the planet at that point. Because you're just hungry and you're like, all right, I'm ready for something. So we scarfed down some pizza. And then for the first time in forever, Rhonda and I had a wonderful ride back. Although it wasn't on Lyft that we normally do.
Because you were on Lyft.
I usually use Lyft because so
we were
a while back, I had my debit card linked to Uber.
Right.
And I had PayPal linked to Lyft. Well, I ended up getting a new debit card and I just never changed it in the Uber app. That's why we've always been using Lyft. I just didn't change it.
Oh.
So I go to look at a Lyft, and every single Lyft is somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes.
Well, no, let's back up. We were in Kat's room, and Kat looked at the time, and it was almost 11 o'clock. And she was like, y'all need to go before 11 and get an Uber or Lyft because that's when it gets crazy. So we're like, all right.
Well, both crazy in time, but also in price.
You looked at the room, and it was 6 minutes, you said.
Yeah, for Lyft.
So we weren't too far. We were on that first floor. We weren't too far. So I thought you got it, which I don't know.
You should have learned your lesson from when you thought I got the virtual queue on Friday.
Anyways, we go out there, and the next thing I know, he's looking at it, and it's 16 minutes, and then it jumps to 23 minutes. Yeah. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
And I had secured it. I mean, I had confirmed pickup.
So this awesome guest heard us, and then she turned around and she's like, get an Uber. She said, cancel the Lyft, get an Uber. And I don't know how she said it, but basically it'll be here within a few minutes.
Yeah.
And Jeremy did just that. And I think about 5 to 10 minutes later, there was an Uber picking us up.
Yeah.
Great. And I mean, at this point too, because I was like, I mean, I know where I am and I could start walking, and I mean, I'd probably get there by the time Lyft would take me home. So, but yeah, we got in this awesome Uber, took us right to Coronado,
Yes.
dropped us off, and it was nice. He wasn't speeding. It wasn't crazy. And it was a nice end to the day.
It really was, because we have had some awful lifts
Yes.
at night recently.
Yes.
They really have, like some just bad. And so it was good that this one was good. And, and you're right, we kind of knew this was closing it out because we were going to get up the next morning and go home.
Mm-hmm.
And so this was kind of our last hurrah. Overall thoughts on the 50th, there are a lot of people that I think have been disappointed in some of the offerings. I don't know what else people want. Like, I said last episode, the attention to details for me personally on every little thing, from the banners, these beacons of light, to we got 2 new fireworks shows. We've got 150 different treats to try. We've got merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
We have specialty gift cards, room keys, pass holder, pass it. Like, what else is Disney supposed to do? I mean, my only disappointment was not having any mention or indication that Friday was the day. That was my only one.
Yep, ditto.
And after we went back then and we actually watched, some of the specials that Disney Parks blog did for the media, and I totally get it. They need to hype it up for the media, but you got Christina Aguilera singing, and you got Iger and Chapek, and you've got all these people coming out. Like, again, it would have just been nice to have, a Diamaro walk out or something and say that morning, welcome. 50 years ago today,
right?
This park opened
or
with
Roy's,
Walt's vision,
or Roy's opening speech.
Could have just played the audio,
right?
I mean,
right.
And they had this big, beautiful stage. That was literally my only disappointment.
Yep.
And Disney never promised a thing. That disappointment is solely on us.
Oh, right.
Because we expected something.
Right.
It's not like Disney even said, we're going to have this wonderful opening to the 18-month celebration.
Right.
They never said a thing. They already did that a couple nights before in their mind. So
right.
what do you think overall of everything that's being offered and what we get to see the next 18 months?
Oh, yeah. I'm excited. And I'm excited because I think things are going to be rolled out slowly, too, over the next 18 months.
Yeah. And I think we're going to get more
Disney's got more up their sleeve
I do too.
than y'all realize.
I do too.
And so, yeah, I think.
Yeah. Like whatever the replacement is for Kite Tails in a couple days. I can't wait to see this in person. I have never been more excited to see something because it looks like a train wreck. But then I've also seen people that once they experience it in person, they go, that was fun. Like, they're kind of like, you know what? This is a good midday break. It's made really for kids. It's just something fun to see. And, watching Baloo crash into the stands, which is on purpose, is kind of hilarious. I guess. You know what I mean? They have no landing spot for him. That's why they're just crashing him into the stands.
Oh.
So we were planning to go see the first showing on Sunday morning and then go home. But we were just exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, you know what, let's get home. So, we checked out and left. But we will be back and we will check it out. I'm excited to head over and try treats and see statues at Hollywood Studios. Like, we get this for 18 months, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Be excited.
Yep.
I highly recommend, if you have been holding off your visits, obviously, because of the pandemic and everything that's happened the past 2 years, the next 18 months, I think, are going to be a wonderful time to go.
Yep.
More and more is coming. And I'm excited to see what rolls out as well, especially, like coming up for the holidays. We're getting Candlelight Processional back.
Yep.
We don't know really in what form or what manner. We're getting some live music back. We're getting like things are coming back.
Yep.
The world is healing.
Yes.
So are we.
Yep.
Any final thoughts?
Nope.
I think we've covered most everything, right?
I think so.
Well, guys, thank you so much for listening. Again, if you listen to this whole episode and you didn't listen to the last episode, you can still go listen to it. Just in your brain, just swap those days, basically. I cannot wait for Tuesday's episode in Space 220.
Yes.
And then next Friday is our 400th episode.
Ooh. Ooh.
which is insane. And we would love to get you guys involved that are listeners. So what we've done is we've set up a Google voicemail, and you can reach that by calling 719-642-8405, which is the most random number ever. It's a Colorado Springs, Colorado number, area code. I had somebody hit me up about that, actually. And what we would love for you to do is leave a voice message. Go ahead and state your name, where you're from. If you can go ahead and tell us about your favorite Disney memory. And then we'd love to just kind of know how you came about listening to Main Street Magic. We just love to hear those stories. I don't understand how people find us, and I'd like to know. So,
Yes,
again, that
absolutely.
number is 719-642-8405. Please call between now and, if you can, Wednesday, October 13th. Because I'll have to spend that Thursday putting this all together. So if you can get it in between now and then, that would be wonderful. Can't wait to hear what you guys have to say. If you have not already subscribed, do that so you can get those shows every Tuesday and Friday. Check out mainstreetshirts.com for all of our merchandise, including some new merch that we mentioned earlier. And as long as you're out there, we would absolutely love if you could leave us a rating and review.
Because it helps our show grow.
That's all we've got. We'll see you real soon.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts. Main Street Magic's bringing it home.